ठीक अच्छे। So good morning to all my dear students. Okay, in last class we discussed about the vector form of Coulomb's law. Okay, in vector form we mainly discussed two different cases, that is when the charges are of similar nature, and second thing when the charges are of dissimilar in nature. That means first case we take both the charges either be positive or positive or negative. Second case we take either one charge is positive and second charge is negative. Okay, so in this class we discuss about the Coulomb's law in a position vector form and the different units used to measure the electric charge. Okay, so when we observe the position vector form, Coulomb's law in terms of position vector. Okay, so first you tell me what is a position vector. Okay, a position vector means when we place any charge particle in a coordinate system. Okay, coordinate system means we mainly define one dimension, two dimension or three dimension. Okay, and when we define a coordinate system and when we place any point charge on that coordinate system such that there is a line that joins the charge from the origin of that coordinate system. Okay, that means a position vector means a line which joins origin to any point in space. Okay, in three dimensional cases, or in two dimension case we can say a line that joins origin and the point placed in that plane is called a position vector. For example, suppose we take a coordinate system, two-dimensional coordinate system. Suppose two-dimensional coordinate system is here x, y. Okay, suppose we place a point P in the xy plane. Okay, and if we join the origin, suppose origin is O and the point in the plane is P, and if we join the point join the line OP, that line will indicate the position vector. And if we observe the coordinate of the point P, since it lies in the xy plane, so its position will be pxy. Okay, that means we have to move x distance along x axis and after that y distance along y axis. Okay, so that's why when we write the position vector, generally we denote as r vector. Okay, and since we are taking two-dimensional coordinate, so r vector can be written as x I cap plus y j cap. Okay, that is I cap is the unit vector along x axis and j cap is the unit vector along y axis. Okay, and when we add another coordinate, that is another axis, that is z, then in such case in three dimension the r vector will be x I cap plus y j cap plus z k cap. Okay, so this is the position vector. Okay, so now we can define Coulomb's law in terms of position vector. Okay, that means we have to take 2 point charges q1 and q2 in a plane. Okay, either you may take two-dimensional plane. Suppose we place 2 point charges q1 and q2 in a coordinate system, and we have to just measure the force in between q1 and q2 when their position vectors are given. Okay, suppose I take the case of two positive charges. Okay, suppose I consider that q1 and q2 are both positive in nature. Okay, and if we place q1 and q2 in a coordinate system of x, y coordinate, okay, in x, y coordinate, suppose origin is O and we place 2 point charges, one is q1 and another one is Q2. Okay, one is Q1 and another one is Q2 in the plane XY. Okay, suppose here the given value are the position vector of Q1, the position vector of Q1, suppose that is R1 vector, okay, and the position vector of Q2, suppose that is R2 vector. This data are given to you, okay. So position vector, suppose we take the point as A and this point as B, okay. OA line is taken as the position vector R1 vector, OB line is taken as the position vector R2 vector, okay. And when we measure, we have to move from origin towards point A, so that's why position vector direction will be along OA, okay. And this also has the direction towards OB, okay. Now when we measure, if you mark a point here, the data is given only this amount, that means position vector of charge Q1 is R1, position vector of charge Q2 is R2, okay. But you have to measure the force in between Q1 and Q2, okay. And if you observe Coulomb's law needs magnitude of the two charges and the distance of separation between them, and that distance of separation is not given here, okay. That means you have to find out the distance between AB, distance between Q1 and Q2, okay, by taking one of force either F12 or F21, okay. Suppose I take the measurement of F12 vector, okay. What does it means? F12 vector means force on charge Q1 because of charge Q2, okay. That means here we have to make the movement from 2 to 1, okay. And when we take the movement from 2 to 1, so this is the movement from 2 to 1 direction. Now question is on force direction, okay. I say Q1 equals to positive, Q2 is also positive, okay. And when both charges are positive in nature, that means we experience a repulsive force, okay. And the action starts from Q2 charge, okay. And when the action starts from Q2 charge, that means the Q1 charge will repel, okay, and it repel along the BA direction, okay. So that will be the direction of F12 vector, okay. F12 vector, and this displacement is from 2 to 1, so that's why that is R21 vector, okay. So now question is, what is the value of R21? What is the value of R21, okay. If you look towards the direction towards a triangle OAB, okay. In triangle OAB, if we look, okay, what you find? In triangle OAB, we find it is satisfy triangle law of vector addition, okay. Triangle OAB satisfies triangle law of vector addition, means its two vector lies in the same order and the third vector lies in the opposite order. Same order vectors are R2 and R21, these are same order, and the opposite order vector are, the opposite vector is R1 vector. So that's why we can say R1 is resultant of R2 and R21, okay. So in triangle OAB, according to triangle law of vector addition, the resultant is R1 vector, okay. So R vector, triangle law of vector addition says R vector equal to A vector plus B vector. That means the resultant vector is equal to addition of the other two vectors. So R1 vector equals to R21 vector plus R2 vector, okay. So that's why R21 vector equal to R1 vector minus R2 vector, okay. So this will be the value of R21 vector. Okay, and this data is not given. Okay, so you have to measure from the triangle vector addition. Now question, now Coulomb's law says magnitude of the square of the distance between the two charges. So if you take the magnitude here, so R21 vector magnitude will be R1 vector minus R2 vector whole magnitude. Okay, and when we measure the unit vector, that is R21 unit vector equals to R21 vector by R21 vector magnitude. Okay, so R21 vector is R1 vector minus R2 vector divided by R1 vector minus R2 vector modulus. Okay, so now let us calculate the force. Okay, because we have already measured the distance between two charges, that is R21 and R21 magnitude. Okay, so now it is easy to calculate the value F21 F12 vector. Okay, so now force on Q1 due to Q2. Okay, so that is F12 vector equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by R21 square R21 cap. Okay, R21 square and R21 cap. Okay, so that's why if we substitute here 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by R21 square means it is a purely magnitude form. So that means R1 minus R2 modulus square, and what is the R21 cap? R21 cap will be R1 vector minus R2 vector divided by R1 vector minus R2 vector modulus. Okay, so that will give F12 vector equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R1 minus R2 mod Q into R1 minus R2 vector. Okay, so that will be the Coulomb's law in terms of position vector. Okay, so you can calculate F21 vector. Okay, so you have to calculate F21 vector from this value, and I picturize the direction of F21. F21 vector will be along AB direction, and when we take measurement of F21, we have to take that will be the direction of R12 vector. Okay, so that is a home task for you, that is you have to calculate R21 vector and F21 vector. Okay, and I mention here the result of F21 vector, that is F21 vector equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R2 vector minus R1 vector mod square mod Q whole into R2 vector minus R1 vector. So that will be the value of F21. Okay, so you have to calculate and you have to check and you have to send the picture of F21 vector in the group. Okay, so that will be the Coulomb's law in terms of position vector. So I think you will able to get the point of position vector of Coulomb's law. Okay, now question is on unit of charges. Okay, so when we look forward the unit of charge, generally we say the unit of charge is used to measure mainly 3 units. Okay, one is SI or MKS unit, another one is CGS. Okay, but CGS as a charge particle gives both electric and magnetic effects. So that's why there are 2 different units in CGS system that is used to measure the unit of charge. Okay, So when we take the consideration of unit of charge, okay. So generally when we observe Coulomb's law, what the Coulomb's law says, okay, Coulomb's law says that force between any two charge particle placed in air and separated by some distance are equals to some value beta, or that's 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 divided by r square. Okay, so that will be the force in between the two charges placed in air. Okay, and the value of beta, that equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, and its value is 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton meter square Coulomb to the power minus 2. Okay. Suppose I take both the charges have same magnitude. Okay. Both the charges have same magnitude and the charges are separated by unit distance. Okay. The charges are separated by unit distance. Then what will be the value of that charge? Okay. That means we may consider that Q1 equals to Q2 equals to, suppose Q1 equals to Q2 equal to Q. All the charges or both the charges we take, Q1 and Q2 are of same magnitude and they are separated by a unit distance, that is 1 meter. Okay. Then what is the value of charge? Okay. And if we look forward the value of charge, then what we get? Okay. When we place the charge particles at a unit distance, then the force experienced by the charge particle is 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton. Okay. So this is the value of the force experienced by the charges that are placed in air. Okay. When we place the charges in air, then the force experienced by them is 9 into 10 to the 9. Okay. You may ask here, how we get this value? Okay. This value that can be found by considering this type of case, that is same, just opposite variation, that equals to f. Okay. I first calculate here, then I repeat to move that case. Okay. So f equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q1 q2 by r square. Okay. So if you substitute here, 9 into 10 to the power 9 equals to 9 into 10 to the power 9 q into q divided by 1 square. Okay. So that will be q square equals to 1. So that implies to q equal to 1 coulomb. Q equals to 1 coulomb. So that will be, you can say, that is plus or minus 1 coulomb. Okay. So that means when we take the consideration of the definition of 1 coulomb, so 1 coulomb definition here we can define, that will be, what is the definition of 1 coulomb? Okay. So definition of 1 coulomb says, if the charges of same type, because q1 and q2 are of similar nature. Okay. So if we place the charges of same type in air at a unit distance, they experience a repulsive force of magnitude 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton. Okay. That means we can say 1 coulomb is the charge if we experience a force of 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton between the two similar type charges if we experience a repulsive force. Experience a repulsive force of 9 into 10 to the power 9 between two similar charges placed at 1 meter distance, in air or that is vacuum. Okay, so 1 coulomb is the charge if we experience a repulsive force of 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton between two similar charges placed at a 1 meter distance in air or vacuum. So, one of the unit of charge, that is coulomb. Okay, and generally we measure coulomb in SI or MKS unit. Okay, so we can say the unit of charge in SI or MKS unit is equal to coulomb. Okay, now let us take the discussion about the CGS units. Okay, CGS unit of charge. Okay, so depending upon the nature of charge, generally the CGS unit of charge mainly divided into two categories. That is, one is electrostatic unit and another one is electromagnetic unit. Okay, and in electrostatic unit, the unit of charge is written as stat coulomb. Okay, in electrostatic unit, the unit of charge is stat coulomb, or you may write here like stat C. Okay, and electromagnetic unit of charge will be half coulomb. Okay, so that is half C. Don't write A, B, C. That is half C. Okay, so that is stat coulomb and that is half coulomb. Okay, C will be capital. Okay, as it is a unit symbol. Okay, so stat coulomb and that is half coulomb. Okay, so now take a relation between coulomb, stat coulomb and half coulomb. Okay, so another point here you may take. Okay, so you have to take the relation between coulomb, half coulomb and stat coulomb. Okay, suppose I take the consideration that 1 coulomb is some value of stat coulomb. Okay, suppose I take here a relation, first relation between coulomb and stat coulomb. Okay, suppose I write here relation between coulomb and stat coulomb, and I consider let 1 coulomb is equal to x stat coulomb. 1 coulomb equal to x stat coulomb. So what is the value of x that we have to calculate? Okay, so let's start from the calculation of the SI unit of charge. Okay, that means in order to find the relation between Coulomb and start Coulomb, just you have to move from SI system to CGS system, and the SI system of charge, that is SI system of charge, that is 1 Coulomb. Okay, so when we take the SI system of charge, then what we find, what will be the force? Okay, let the force F equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 divided by R square. Okay, and suppose both the charge Q1 and Q2 has their value, that is 1 Coulomb, and the distance between the two charges is 1 meter. Okay, so if we take in SI system, let Q1 equals to Q2 equal to 1 Coulomb and R equals to 1 meter. Okay, so as we know, value of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, that will be 9 into 10 to the power 9 respective unit. So that will be F equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, 1 into 1 divided by 1 square. So that will be 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton. Okay, so in SI system, the force between two charges will be 9 into 10 to the power 9 meter. Okay, now we have to take the discussion about the start Coulomb. Okay, suppose we take the start Coulomb as x. Okay, so that's why in CGS system, suppose that F equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught x, that is Q1 Q2 divided by R square. Okay, and when we take the discussion of R square, simply here 1 meter will changes to their CGS unit like centimeter, and 1 meter is 100 centimeter. Okay, so that's why I take x1 x2 equal to x start Coulomb. Okay, and R equals to 100 centimeter. Okay, so unit of force, that will be dyne. Okay, so what will be the value of force? Okay, so the value of force will be 1 by 4 pi, in 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 in CGS system, that is equal to 1. Okay, so F equals to Q1, so that will be x into x divided by 100 square, and unit is dyne. Okay, so that implies to F equals to x square by 10 to the power 4 dyne. Okay, so in CGS system, what will be the value? That will be F equal to x square by 10 to the power 5 dyne. Okay, now let's take its conversion. Okay, we know, because we have to relate these two things, we have to take the relation between these two results that we measure in CGS system and SI system. Okay, so now take a relation between these two relations that we obtain. Okay, so here the unit is dyne and here the unit is Newton. Okay, and 1 Newton equals to 10 to the power 5 dyne. Okay, so that's why we can say 1 dyne equals to 1 by 10 to the power 5 Newton. Okay, so let's put here. Okay, so that's why in CGS, if we put, so F equal to x square by 10 to the power 4 into 1 dyne will be 1 by 10 to the power 5 Newton. Okay, so that will give x square by 10 to the power 9 Newton. Okay, but here we have obtained force equal to 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton. Okay, so if we substitute here, substitute the value of F, that is 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton. So that implies 2. So 1 F, that is 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton equals to x square by 10 to the power 9 Newton. Okay, so that will be x square equal to, cancel Newton on both sides. So x square equal to 9 into 10 to the power 18. Okay, so that's why x equal to, take the square root, so that will be 10 to the power 3 into 10 to the power 9, and x we take here, that is x start coulomb. So x will be 3 into 10 to the power 9. Okay, so x value, that will be 3 into 10 to the power 9. So that's why, what is the relation we get? So the relation that we get, 1 coulomb equal to x start coulomb, and the value of x, that is 3 into 10 to the power 9. So that's why 1 coulomb equal to 3 into 10 to the power 9 start coulomb. So that is the relation between coulomb and start coulomb. Okay, understand? Second thing, we measure about the half coulomb unit. Okay, so when we take the measurement about the relation between coulomb and half coulomb, so what we get, 1 coulomb equal to 3 into 10 to the power 9 start coulomb, and in half coulomb or electromagnetic unit, so 1 coulomb, that will be 1 by 10 half coulomb. Okay, and that is the electromagnetic unit of charge. So 1 coulomb equals to 1 by 10 half coulomb. So what is the relation between 3? 1 coulomb equals to 3 into 10 to the power 9 start coulomb equals to 1 by 10 half coulomb. So that is the relation between coulomb, start coulomb and half coulomb. Okay, but important is that sometimes the question in your board exams arise like this, one of a short question, how many coulombs are there in one start coulomb? A question will be like this, how many coulombs are there in one start coulomb? Okay, how many coulombs are there in one start coulomb? Okay, so if you take the relation, 1 coulomb equal to 3 into 10 to the power 9 start coulomb. Okay, so that's why 1 start coulomb equals to 1 by 3 into 10 to the power 9 coulomb. So 1 by 3 into 10 to the power 9 coulomb charge will exist inside 1 start coulomb. Okay, so there is an option given in the four option level. So one of the best answer will be 1 by 3 into 10 to the power 9. Okay, but oftenly students make their mistake in order to choose this answer. Okay, so 1 by 3 into 10 to the power 9 coulomb will exist in 1 start coulomb. So this is the relation between coulomb, start coulomb and half coulomb. Okay, so in next class we discuss about the superposition principle that defines to measure the total force in between the total force any one charge due to all other charges. Okay, so in next class we discuss about the superposition principle. Okay, thank you.